Hey, what's up guys? This is my review of the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Blue Sapphire. Um, Here we go. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible and hopefully not be as long as I usually do. Before I do that, let me just reset the time on here. Nice pop. And pull it out to there, and we're just going to go back slightly so it looks a bit better. Okay, so this is the watch here. Got this a couple weeks ago. It took about a month or so to get it. I guess it takes them a while to cut the crystal symbol and everything for that dial, which is basically what you pretty much buy this particular watch for. It's that dial. It's sapphire. It's, I believe, 0.6 millimeters thick, and it's actually not blue. It's, as you might possibly know, that blue color is from a transparent film that's applied beneath it, so it's that gives it that effect. And that's the same with the back here. It's got a sapphire display back, and that is also a blue, I want to say they say it's blue polycarbonate sheet, transparent blue. And so there you go. And yeah, this is a really good looking watch. It's very stunning. I think it's very eye-catching. And what's great about it is that you know, you get, if you're into that skeletonized look, being able to see the movement through the dial, this is a way of doing it without actually cutting out the dial and exposing a direct exposure to the movement. It's transparent, so you can see it. Probably in this particular angle and lighting, you may not, let me see if I can adjust this, but you may not catch all the details. I'm just trying to reduce the glare here, but something like that, you can kind of see through it a little bit better. So let's just brighten this up. Let's go through the measurements real quickly. I'm not professional at this, so I'm just going to go at it. It is a 40 millimeter watch, which I think is quite the perfect size. For the C60 range, you got 42, and then you go smaller at 38. But I think that might be a bit small. 40 is pretty good for just about everyone. And what do you have here? I think lug to lug, it's about 48 millimeters. I don't know the exact measurements, but I know it's not over 49. I think it's somewhere between 47 and 48. And you gotta account for this coming out, but these male end links where that piece is jutting out here, and that's where it pivots from. Not a big deal. I mean, unless you got really skinny wrists, generally this curves down with the lugs and the shape of the bracelet to go around your wrist anyway, so you're not really gaining much, to be honest. I mean, even if it was female and it pivoted from inside here more, chances are the bracelet will still basically kind of follow this I don't know, arc or curve, that line out from the watch head anyway. So anyways, what else? The thickness, I believe, is about 13 millimeters, and it does use 20 millimeter lugs, and stainless steel, 600 meters water resistant. I believe this is using the Sellita SW200, and it's got a custom rotor, and that's what makes this a little bit different than the other C60s, I think, for the most part. Besides the dial, of course, most of the C60s have a solid case back with the Trident logo on the back, but this one doesn't. And you got a pretty nice view of the movement underneath. That's something unique. You don't usually have a blue, transparent blue, see-through case back like this. I think I'd comment like some others that perhaps they could have gone with a slightly, I'm just trying to adjust the focus here, a slightly lighter shade of blue, so it's not as dark. Maybe you might be able to see it better, but it could be because of the distance between the movement and the surface of this crystal. The further away it goes, it just kind of falls into darkness more, versus whatever's up close, gets more of the light coming through and reflects and shows up better. As with the front, you can. What's good about this is you don't get the busyness of the movement, but in the right light you'll catch it, and it'll show up pretty nicely. But for the most part, it can still go into really dark blue, sometimes even looking black, like from this angle, right? And what would I say? It's kind of nice to have that date wheel there that you can kind of see. I don't know. Let me get up closer, see if you can see the numbers on there. I think if I covered it, you can, yeah, there, less glare. Sorry about that. But see, now you can see the movement and the number that's in that dark ring around the outer perimeter, I guess. And I think that's kind of neat that it kind of almost gives a bit of a sector dial effect, where the center part is lighter and then you got a ring or band around the outer edge that's darker. And I think it's pretty neat that they were able to use an actual piece of sapphire, which they say is difficult to cut, and there's probably some reasonable rate of failure, so it probably takes them a couple of tries to get a good one, and there might be a lot of waste. At least that's what they say, but they don't really say how much. But you think about it, you gotta drill holes for these screws. Of course, black screws are on the sides here. I think that's basically to secure that crystal down. And then you have to probably have that window cut out too, nice and clean, rectangular form. And then you got to set the print on it, nice clean print, which it does, which is good because with a transparent dial, you really want it to be clear. Whatever you print on it, nice and clean. Doesn't it just adds to the transparency and the clarity, I guess, if you can say, of trying to see through a dial. Then you need to drill, of course, through the center here, and then likely all the applied markers need at least one drill hole, probably two for the ones that are the longer batons out here, for it to set into. So there's a lot of fine work being done to assemble that dial by itself. So that's it's kind of part of the, I guess, the watch craftsmanship that you're buying into with this particular watch. Yeah, I really like this new Mark III case. I believe they started doing these light catching cases with the C60 line, and those are primarily 41 millimeters, and they don't have the crown guards here, and they got a more of a vintage look, but the general shape of this, it matches like this Mark III, the way it's cut and beveled and all that, and the way it curves. It's really nicely done. You can see that this just comes down onto the wrist really nicely, and then because of the way it's cut, you don't get like a solid slab of metal, so that really your eyes are just kind of focusing on this middle part. So it helps make it look thinner, and it just looks very sleek and well sculpted, and again nicely finished. You get some brushing and high polish on the beveled or chamfered edges here and a little bit below. It's a good looking case, and it wears really well, as you'll see on my just under 7-inch wrist size. I think the bezel is nice. This is unique. There's no other C60 that has this exact bezel. Maybe the outer part, but at least the insert part, that's definitely different. I just like the way they treated it. You know, it's finely brushed outer ring. And yes, I did get a tiny scratch here, unfortunately, but I was going to brush it out, but I said, you know what, I might make it a larger mess if I tried to do it and the brushing doesn't match. So I said, you know what, it's all good. It's, you know, you wear a watch, it's going to eventually get these stains or marks or something. And you can't feel it, it's just on the surface, but, you know, maybe with a careful work, you could probably get that out if you wanted to, or if I wanted to, but I don't care to right now. So, what I like about this bezel is just the way it's designed. It's got that brushing, and then as you go closer in here, it's got some fine kind of. I'm looking at it here. It's not brushed in there. It's just plain and smooth in the space in between. And I like how that adds like a little bit of a ring around the dial or the crystal, and that's kind of like what watches have that? Maybe Omega. I know, like the Zen 104. If you look around, it has like this silver like frame, and that's, I don't know. This helps frame the crystal and the dial, which is a nice effect, and it does slim down the bezel part that has the numbers and the also the markings. And I like the fact that these numbers are a little lower profile and smaller, and they're not in your face. I don't like the numbers on the bezels to be overly bold, to be honest. If there are, I want them few. That's just me. And you got this part here from 1 to 15. It's like a transparent blue. I don't know, like paint or lacquer or something that they filled in there. But then the silver part, where it divides, has the markings are not colored or filled. It's let me see if I can get it in there. You know, it's actually loomed underneath there, which is pretty cool effect. This part will actually glow more blue, but I suspect it's still actually green loom underneath, but because of this blue, transparent blue, I don't know, layer that's over it, it transitions into a bluish color, which is pretty neat. And I'll try to show a loom shot later. Um, that's loom, the triangle around the center. But you know how the outside here, the numbers and these markers, and even around the triangle, it looks like it has a black paint. It actually does loom too. If you put it under UV or you charge it enough, you shut the lights out really dark and you look closely, you'll see that it has a faint blue glow to them as well. But it's really, really faint, almost not worth mentioning, but I found it interesting that it actually does glow. These parts that are black. Yeah, that's my washing machine. Clothes are done. Um, if you can hear that ring, but yeah, just thought people should know. It's not mentioned in the description in the website or anything, but you know, it's something that's kind of neat. It's kind of a hidden little detail, and if your eyes are sensitive, you'll catch that. And the bezel is 120 click unidirectional, of course. And this is a different feeling than their previous bezels. I've only really owned the C60 Trident, which is a nice watch, but it was much more. It felt good too, but it's definitely a different feel. This is smoother. Almost feels like it might be on ball bearings, but you know, it's just got just smooth. Just has just enough resistance, but it's very clicky. But when it, you know, you feel the clicks go into the next click, I guess it feels very deliberate, like it's really getting into the spot. And there's basically no back play, and I wouldn't consider back play if you get to your desired position and you pull back and it stops, and that's where it locks and holds and is aligned with the marker that you want it to be. And that's fine. That's what you want it to be. You don't want it to settle somewhere in between. That's so annoying, and that doesn't do that. So it's really action's good, and all the markings are well aligned, as you can see. I think this is overall, this is Christopher Ward's best model to date. Not this specific one, but in general, with the dive watch line, with this Mark III case, they're at a good pinnacle in their brand and design compared to before. I mean, some people like the older design, but I like the fact that this takes less borrowed elements. Supposedly the other ones with the kind of a cathedral teardrop shaped hour hand and some other elements were more Vermont style of dive watch. And then if you look at Vermont, you see the similar handsets. So they come into their own with their own case design, and I think the bezel and just overall, and as well as the dial. I mean, you've seen baton markers, but they're really nicely done, faceted, and they also catch light. So you can get up closer. Let's try to change the angles. And with this, even as reflective as that crystal could be, for the dial that is, everything's always legible. Nothing really, completely disappears where you can't read it. There's always something that's highlighted or just stands out so that you can always basically read this at any angle and practically any lighting, which is great. So, I like the triangle, or this, I don't know, this arrow tip here for the hour hand. It's a nice clean look. And so is this, I guess, this sword hand. You could call it, it's not really a pencil, is it? I mean, it's like a straight sword. It's not like a, I don't know, like a broadsword or whatever. I don't know what you call these hands, but they're nice. And their trademark Trident logo at the end of these running seconds hands works because this is a Trident line. I'm not going to even talk about the layout of the dial, the way they do the logos and stuff. I'm fine with it. I like it. I think overall it doesn't look unbalanced to me. You got some information here, a little name or information there, and so forth, and then kind of a ghosted, very subtle Twin Flags logo of theirs. Should it have been white like the rest of it? No, they haven't been doing that. I don't think it needs it. It helps keep it cleaner on the top, and that's kind of their part of their design element that distinguishes them from other brands. But yeah, this is a really well designed case, and different sizes. Basically retains all the proportions and details. It's just scaled up or scaled down. And they have a really nice bracelet, solid end links, and as you can see, they have like this easy removal and attachment system, which is this is one of the this is why you want to get on a bracelet. It'll cost you less anyways if you got it with it than after, I think. Yeah, so you just push this in, and then it pulls it, and then you slip it in, and that's how you work it. And it's pretty easy to attach. It's a tight and close fit, which it should be. You don't want it to be loosey goosey. But let's see if I can do this behind camera here. Actually, I gotta hold it from this back side here, so you might need some fingernails if you're gonna try to do this. But basically, you pinch it in, and these spring bars that are in here can't fall out, which you can't say for other bracelets when you're trying to work it in with a tool. Sometimes when you're doing it, it slips out of the hole, and you gotta reset it, and kind of be a pain in the ass. Normally, okay, I'm gonna have to look at this off camera, not through the camera. There we go. And then just see, snaps right in. Perfect fit, always. And do the same on this side, obviously. So yeah, solid end links, very comfortable. It's got a slight curvature to them, so it'll help wrap around your wrist that much better instead of these just being straight, right? basic oyster style, but I personally don't mind. It's very standard, but I've always liked that kind of style. It's just a clean look, and it's not overdone. It's classic, so no big deal. The glass is really well milled. As you might notice, Zealous has begun basically, I don't know if I would say they're copying it, but they kind of are. They have the exact same shape. This part of it might be different with their logo on there as well, obviously, but other than that, everything else at this general proportion size, these kind of pushers, and of course the nice toolless adjustment system to extend the micro adjust a little bit. And once you got it out, it's too loose, you just kind of push and dial it back in. I think there's about about four positions. So this is a great design. I don't like the ones where, like, I'm just trying to think, like some strap codes have these, and some aftermarket, some micro bands that use that this particular, not this one, but the other kind of dive extension where there's like this section at the end would be like divided right around here, and that part section kind of comes out. And then the thing is with that is that it usually is way too much extension than you probably need. At least, unless you're planning to put it over a wetsuit. But most of us generally would just need this to adjust for swelling or de-swelling, I guess, of your wrist throughout the day or something. But yeah, that's just those other ones. They got sharp edges, and I think it just looks ugly to see that ratchet piece. And it's like you got this weird gap here too when it's separated. That's why I had it once on a watch a long time ago, and I never used it. It just looks ugly when you extend it, and I never wanted to use it. So this is much more useful. You do this, and it's all internal and behind the scenes, so to speak. So no matter how much you extend or retract it in, it's always covered, and it looks complete. That's why this system works really well, and it clips very nice and clean, easy to double push or deploy. And I think you probably need, you do need to push both of them to really release it. So accidentally pushing on one will not cause it to just fly open. And we'll just show this on my 6.875 inch wrist. This is what I have it adjusted to, and it fits so well, right? You can just see just the way this part of the case is nice because it just blends down so nicely, and it just fits really well. Sorry about the focus. My camera does not autofocus all that well, if it even does. It's a nice look. It's very sleek. That's what I like about Christopher Ward and where they're at. Their designs are very, I think, modern. And will they be classic? Possibly. But this is, in so many senses, a very cool modern watch. I mean, just the materials, just the design and style of it all. If you want a good, well-built, modern dive watch, can't go wrong with this. You would think it might seem delicate because of the transparent dial or something, but I mean, this is a 600-meter dive watch, and I mean, for it to be still pretty well proportioned, it's not all that thick at 13 or so millimeters. That's like SKX and stuff. It's a standard dive thickness without being overly. And for 600 meters, and the fact that it even has a display case back too, and all that, that's really nice. Oops, sorry about that camera shake. What else can I say? I think everything is well done on the dial as well, because the hands basically reach all the way to the minute markings, right? I mean, just shy of touching it, but close enough. It's just running the perimeter, so your eyes go to, you can reference the minute track out there pretty easily. The second hand reaches all the way out as well, which is pretty nice. And our hand actually is just, yeah, I think it just reaches it, maybe just shy of it. Can't really touch it, so, but it's nice, and the point goes pretty close to the markers, which is, I think, a good look. Other details to note are the way the orange is painted on the second hand. It goes up to about there, and that just happens to match the dark ring that goes around here from the date, primarily from the date wheel. So it's just kind of neat that it just matches that portion of it that's in orange. What else can I say? This is good that the date wheel was black. Otherwise, it'd probably show up too bright underneath the sapphire, and you just want it to kind of disappear anyways with the rest of the dial. And let's see, is there anything else I can say about this? Oh, it's a great watch. This has been keeping great time. I think between +4, maybe +6 at most seconds per day. And I was going to say something else about this. Oh, yeah, the adjustment system can be a pain in the butt because it's a pin and collar. So there's like a collar, little metal tube piece that goes through the center link. And then you got this one out here, or on both sides, it's a pin basically that goes in and through that tube that's in there, and that helps lock it in when you got it into place. It's not super hard, but I'd say because you don't want a pin, kind of, a tool that you can use to tap that pin out. You don't want it too big of a diameter that matches this hole, because if it's too close to that, filling in that hole here just to tap that piece out, yeah, but once you get to about here, that's where the collar tube piece in the center begins. It could be just a little bit too fat, and when you get to that part, you either get that piece stuck in that tube, or you might start banging on the outer edge of that tube, because it's just such a tight fit, it won't actually go through it. And when you do that, you might start knocking things like out of place and getting the links to separate if you do it enough and hard enough. So keep that in mind. So I would use a tool that's slightly smaller diameter than is here, and that should be sufficient for you to tap it out and get to this point and tap it through that collar tube that's in here until it is ready to just exit out the other side, and that tool won't get stuck either. So that's something to note if you ever get one of these watches with this bracelet and you want to adjust it yourself. That will probably help out if you what I told you there. What else is there? That's pretty much it. It'd be interesting if they ever do a different color dial someday, maybe in red or completely transparent or smoked. Maybe just make it gray. But the blue is a nice way to go. It's like if you want a blue dial diver, this is definitely something different. This isn't the best lighting to show this in, but the blue does transform itself in terms of shades. Like sometimes it's like you can kind of see here, it's more of a, in general, it looks kind of like this. It's more of a, for most angles and lighting, it looks like this kind of color you see. It's like a kind of aqua blue, almost turquoise-ish. You definitely get a hint of green, but if you change the angle enough and look at it from different lighting or angle, it can go into a darker, more true blue. You get less of that slightly greenish tone to it, and that could be evident in, if you ever see some of the pictures I posted this on Instagram or the various some of the Facebook watch groups. So for about $900 something, right? Or actually, when the bracelet is just over that, I think, just over, it's like 1,025 or something like that. It's I would say it's still kind of worth it. It's a well built, unique watch, and won't be disappointed really. But uh, Christopher always has sales, and I got mine with like 125 off, so it brought it to maybe just under $900, eight something. Um, the only thing though, when you buy these and you get them shipped over, at least to the U.S., you probably are likely to pay duty on it, and anything over 800 usually will get taxed, and you got to pay that before they will deliver this to you. I think they ship through DHL, and so DHL will contact you and ask you for money, and you pay for it, and then they'll finish up with the delivery. Otherwise, you don't get it. But I have to say, I mean, I did have to pay it once. One of the last times I had bought a Christopher Award was the C60 Trident GMT, the Pepsi one. You might have seen that video quite a while back at this point. But yeah, I did have to pay tax. That was one of the first times. At the time with the bronze, I never had to, or the C60, the older C60 Trident vintage. But this time, yeah. So if you do pay taxes when it's on sale, like around 800 or so, then I think you pay around 70 or 80, or just under 80. So I think somewhere around $75 if Random Rob quoted correctly, if I'm remembering correctly. So you can expect to pay that much more back out. So that's something to be aware of. Um, the other way around it is, I think if you can get it under 800, you buy this, and I guess still on sale, because I think even if you went with the other strap option, like the hybrid strap, it'll bring it down, but may not bring it down enough. So you still want to try to get it on sale. Oh, it's always better to pay less than not as much than more, right? And that might help you get the watch through without paying taxes, and then you can always try and order the strap bracelet later, and then get that shipped separately, and that shouldn't be taxed because it should be well under $800. You better hope so. um, so that's one way to kind of do that, but I don't know. It is a bit of a pain in the butt because you gotta potentially pay for two different, or rather wait for two different shipping, and you could be paying more for the bracelet than you would want to anyways. But I don't know. These are the kind of shipping tricks. But for me, I was prepared to pay it, that duty coming in, but for some reason they never asked me for it. So I actually got this due without paying duty, which was great. So I got the lowest I think I could possibly get for paying for this, without paying back $75 or so in duty. So you might get lucky and you can get it through without getting charged. I don't know how they pick them out. Could be, I guess, probably random, but there's something to think about. But do prepare yourself to pay duty just in case, if you really want to watch. Let's see. I guess that's it. I mentioned, yeah, of course, it's a screw down crown. I guess there's not much more to say. I'm gonna turn this off and then try to do a loom shot, and I'll put this all together. So there isn't any other question. Let's go to that. Okay, so here's the watch on a aftermarket strap, leather strap. I decided to go with it. It's not from Christopher Ward. It's just some other brand. I believe I probably got it from cheapest NATO straps. So it's just a leather grain, this tan color, and I think it works pretty well with this watch because of. Let's pick it up and look at it a little closer. I think it works pretty well just because the watch has these orange accents on the markers and that second hand, and that kind of goes with this kind of tan color that's got a bit of that orangey kind of color to it. and it's also kind of complementary to the blue dial as well. And just wanted to show, this gives it a pretty different feeling than on that stock bracelet. I do not have the other option that you can buy for this, which would be the kind of a hybrid strap. You sort of see it in the background there, but they have one that's basically canvas with leather, or is it rubber? But anyways, it's like a blue canvas, and either the trim is either matched to that blue, or they also have one that's a contrasty orange accent color kind of on the side of that strap back there. But yeah, and just to show you how this looks like on wrist with this strap on. Just like so. I probably made it a little looser than I normally wear, but it's got a nice look to it, I think. Warms it up for sure. You don't have all that steel, and it's just something kind of fun and gives some more color and life to the watch, which can seem sometimes a little bit cold because it's the steel and that blue color of the dial. All right. Okay, so here's the loom shot, and let the camera white balance adjust a bit. But yeah, everything basically that you see, other than that kind of quarter circle, whatever that's in the bezel, that's glowing blue. Everything else is green, and I forget what the formula is that Christopher Ward is using, but it's basically pretty good. Seiko seems about on par, if not very close. It's pretty potent at first, and then it'll dim. But I've never been able to had problems to read this at night. So yeah, I think with a quick decent charge before going to bed, you'll be able to tell the time throughout the night all the way to morning, for sure. It looks good. That ring, let's see if it'll adjust here. It's probably maybe getting too dim. I can definitely see the bezels, that 1 to 15, that quarter ring or curve, whatever you call it, that line of blue, but it's not showing up in this video. Let me at least not anymore. It's kind of maybe gotten to a level that's a little too dim for it to see. Here we go again. And actually that part is kind of visible too, even when it gets dims to a lower level, but holds. You get a faint idea of that bezel's piece right around here, that blue part. It's pretty neat how they did it. That's what's good about this. I mean, that bezel is completely original looking too. I've never seen anyone do a bezel quite like that before. So, I hope this is definitely not the shortest video I've done, but definitely not the longest either. It's been longer, but I hope it helps somebody if you get a better idea of about this watch. Is it for you? Get another perspective. Help maybe make up your mind or not on this particular item. Yeah, if you want something unique and just different than practically any other watch out there, not just by the general Christopher Ward design and the Mark III case and everything, but just within this specific Sapphire model. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Excuse me. I'd say also between this and, let me give it another blast so you can just get a better look. But trust me, you can still see this from outside the camera. What I was going to say is, I believe the 42 millimeters, you get like a similar look, right? On the regular, I guess, regular C65 Tridents. Oh my god, did I mess up? This is the C60, right? It is C60, yeah. But yeah, the C60 Tridents, the regular ones, you know, the black, the white dial, the blue dial, ceramic bezel. In 42, you'll get even um, hour markers, similar to the way this looks. The main thing is the 9 and 3 position. On the other models, I believe on the 40 millimeter, because of just the way they set it up is different than the Sapphire. That date window will, I think, eliminate the 3 o'clock hour marker, or if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it is there, like a small one like this, but on the 9 o'clock, it's actually long, like the other long ones, like the 10, 11, 8, 7, etc. You know, it's the same length as those, but it's just shorter on the right side where the date window is. So you get a little bit of asymmetry on the 40 millimeter models of those watches, but for some reason that they didn't do it like quite like that on this model. I'd have to check again, but I'm almost certain of that. Just something I just wanted to point out that's different than the other 40 millimeter C60 Tridents that are currently out right now. All right, I better end this. So one more blast. Sorry. And I guess we're out. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.